Today, I wanted to cover the top 5 common mistakes that I see people making for Arcane and Mythic Plus. This can be relevant to Raid, but the majority is definitely aimed towards more of a Mythic Plus audience. The first one, for instance, is going to be not using Nether Tempest for mana conservation. This is generally done in Double Lust. Outside of your burn, you refresh your Nether Tempest when it falls off at 4 arcane charges, because when you're in Double Lust, you're spending so much extra mana than you normally are. And Mythic Plus is a little bit more relevant because there's going to be some times where you're running into packs that are, at like 20% HP, or like a single target that's at 20% HP, that your next burn is your surge burn. You don't want to evocate and surge a target that by the time you evocate it's going to be at 10% HP. So instead you need to keep hitting it, but when you do that, you're continually running out of mana. When you know that situation's going to happen, you want to first start by applying Nether Tempest and then refreshing it, whenever you need to. Of course, you can also barrage there too, but Nether Tempest is generally the first step of mana conservation, just upkeeping that. When you have 4 arcane charges, you're not going to press it the second time during burst or anything, but outside of that, you would. Now, number 4 is going to be not holding your 4-piece procs for Touch the Magi and AoE. Your 4-piece procs that give you your empowered missiles, that is a different buff than the build up to it, right? You need to spend 3 clear casting to get the missiles buff, and then you get the missiles buff. You can still spend clear casting and build up to your next one without consuming the first one. Of course, there's only 2 ways for us to consume clear casting, and one of them consumes the 4-piece buff. So the only way for you to do this is with Arcane Explosion, using that to consume clear casting. So if possible, you actually want to just save your 4-piece procs for your next Touch the Magi if they won't run out. And this is also really good to do to just stack up outside downtime. You can build up to essentially 2 4-piece procs to guarantee that you're going to have them back to back in AoE, but we'll talk about that later. So I highly recommend getting a tracker that will track your, 4-piece build up and your 4-piece buff at the same time. I have one I can link down below. But yeah, that will help accelerate your M+ burst to high heights. Number 3 is going to be to view shifting power as a movable resource. With shifting power, if you use it on CD, it will always reduce the time between your surge and your mini burn. Okay, that's not always how we want to use it in Mythic Plus, because if you say shifting power at the end of a pack and you don't want to start your burn because they all have 5% HP, but your mini burns up, and then you have 10 seconds to the next pack, what ends up happening is you're so close to your surge burn that it doesn't make sense for you to mini burn anymore. If you were instead to not even shifting power there at all, a lot of times what you can end up doing, and if you get used to it in Mythic Plus, is use that downtime to recover the CD of your mini burn. You can instantly mini burn on the start of the next pack, and then you just shifting power after that mini burn's over, and you aren't losing a burn doing that. That's a massive thing that you can do to adjust your cooldown timings as Arcane. I know that a lot of people think that, Arcane requires the tank to pull around them. And while it's definitely true that your tank can mess you up with too much downtime and keys, because if you have no downtime, realistically, when you use CDs, it doesn't really matter. But this shifting power is a way that you can really change your CD usage to fit whatever your tank is doing or whatever you think they might do next. Number 2, this one is also for Raid, but misaligning Evocate with your burn. Whenever we're evocating, we're looking to use Touch the Magi in the next 15 seconds. All right, that's kind of the rule for your evocate, is you can evocate when Touch the Magi is less than 15 seconds on CD, because if you use it as soon as it comes off CD, you're perfectly fine. And that is something you should aim to do, especially in single target. If any of you are familiar with the single turret opener, when you have just any single turret opener actually, where we do a bit of a mana burn before our Arcane Surge big burn, this replicates it essentially every single burn, where you're evocating a little bit early to spend some mana before you actually go into your Surge burn with Touch the Magi. So that's why we're doing it, about 15 seconds beforehand. If you're really you can do it 20 seconds beforehand, but yeah, you don't want to either in single target wait to evocate right before your surge. If it's possible, you could have evocated earlier, or you also don't want to evocate like 30 seconds before your surge, right? Because then your second storm's gonna run out. What I want you to pay attention to is that your Touch the Magi is going to be used in the next 15 seconds. Or, in AoE, this doesn't matter. This is only for single target, right? Single target, Touch the Magi, use the next 15 seconds. And then the number 1 one is going to be a little bit annoying. I think a lot of people will find this annoying, but it's the best way that you have to play around the Arcane 2 and 4 set at the moment, and that is using your downtime between packs, just spamming Arcane Explosion, trying to get clear casting. You don't even need to necessarily get more than one clear casting. A lot of times what I do between packs is I just use Arcane Explosion, get one clear casting, and I hold it. Again, I hold it, and I'm just watching to see when my 2-piece is going to expire, and I'm just going to use my clear casting before my 2-piece expires to guarantee that I have it on the opener and don't need to restack it for the next pack. And then that also applies to your 4-piece, right? You can use that to build up to your next 4-piece or to refresh the buff of your 4-piece, something like that. But doing things like that will give you a large chunk of damage, right? Your 2 set is 10% increased damage. Okay, if you're just dropping that continually and having to restack it, it's really inconvenient because Arcane and AoE does not spend that much mana, so you are really not generating enough clear casting to keep your 2-piece up consistently if you're not keeping it between packs, if that makes sense. You don't have the time to restack it during a pack, so you really want to just be like carrying that forward always. It's a bit annoying, to be honest, but it's effective, right? So it really helps with your overall. Okay, I hope you found this useful. I haven't done one of these since Shadowlands. These are definitely things that I've just seen commonly go wrong for a lot of people, or ones that I think people don't know, right? I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't know you can stack up to your next 4-piece while you have it, that you're supposed to hold your 4-piece missiles for your Touch of Magi, right, in AoE. So I think this will hopefully have helped you. You can let me know in the comments if you have any questions, concerns, whatevs. I am probably going to do one of these for Frost as well. I'm, just thinking through like the content pipeline over the next little bit. I think I'm doing push keys on Tuesday, which I'll probably stream. So maybe I'll get a few videos out of that. And I do want to make a video on like hero talents for Mage. I think that'd be really interesting to look at what we have in the past that could come back from looking at some of the other trees, and ways that can be like expanded. So yeah, have a good holiday season.